Welcome everyone to Banana Bread Trades. My name is Goose. Welcome back to another episode of Recap and Trade Plan, where there's not going to be much to recap because I've been extremely sick the last 3 days. I ended up catching COVID. I've had a real bad fever and overall just kind of bedridden. So not really any trading taking place for me, but there's a lot to talk about because the market has had an ungodly, probably the largest sell-off of the last 2 years. I'd have to go back and look at last year and see how many days we had that were points-wise bigger than what we saw on, Tuesday? And then, it's been just really, really gnarly selling the last couple days. It's not very often you get an 800-point sell day followed by what kind of range day we saw today, where we sell 300 points, buy up 500 points, then retrace that entire 500 points, and I'm referencing NQ, of course. ES was very much the same way, where 120 point sell off yesterday, straight down, no bounce, and then we get an insane buy up, and then retrace that whole thing at the end of the day. So it's been very, very volatile, and luckily I have been able to sit out of most of it. I did take a small loss yesterday. I'll talk about that a little bit. We had our 940 level that we've been talking about for weeks on NQ, and everything looked good. We're pushing the bottom of the Keltner as we were coming down to it. Everything looked great for taking that, that long at our 19540 level, and put a lot of volume in there. A lot of ranging was going on, but then as we ranged a little bit longer, it became pretty apparent that we weren't getting the reaction that we wanted, because this big level here should have, really sparked a lot of buyers right off the bat. And, we should have just been gone and out of there like that. And I was actually in Discord voice for a little bit as we were testing that level for the little bit that I was conscious. And, we all talked and discussed and said, hey, why don't we take our core off? We'll take the core position off. I was long 8 micros at the time. This was a big level. So I wanted to have some size, but also not too much size because of, situations like this. It's a big macro level, right? So we ended up taking off my core, and that was about 5. And that basically came off for break even. I think I got 4 or 5 points out of that core position and just left 3 runners, because at the end of the day, if this move is going to be a really big move, it's going to be a big payday no matter what. But if it ends up failing here, we're going to be okay. And it ended up failing. We ended up taking a stop on those, ended up being down, I don't know, something like 100, 120. So that's not bad whatsoever for how violent that day ended up becoming. And then I just went to bed after that. I was pretty much over it. I was tired, didn't feel good. Figured we'll let the rest of the day do whatever it wants, and then set an alert in case 19540 was ever recovered, in which it was not. It was never seen again, just went straight down from there. And then today, I missed most of today as well, but, pretty gnarly sell-off, followed by an insane buy-up, followed by an insane sell-off once again, just reaffirming that we're still in that bear. They tried to V out of that low so hard. That was a very stereotypical bear market rally. And one great way to identify a bear market rally in NQ and ES, and one thing I definitely use to watch that is come over here into our Discord, scroll down to useful links, and go to stock heat map and pick one of these. The top one is NQ. And this is a great one that I like to track as well. This comes from TradingView, and it is just a chart of what all the stocks within the NASDAQ are doing at that time. And as we were pumping, and I have my live data connected, as we were pumping, and at the highs on NQ today, after that 500-point pump, I checked on this and noticed none of the stocks were actually green. They might have been green by, a couple, tenths of a percent here and there, but at most, everything was pretty much flat on the day relative to prior close. So what does that tell you? If, NQ's pumping really hard, but none of the stocks are really following whatsoever, that should tell you that the market itself doesn't really have any strength, and this is just a bear market rally. So we knew that, the top probably wasn't in. We talked about it in Discord, or that the top was probably in or close to being in. We talked about it on Discord, and we knew not to chase any longs at the highs and maybe trail some shorts if things started to sell off, which did. But that is something I definitely watch when we get into a bear market like this, is if the market itself is not strong, we do not have cohesive strength between NQ, ES, all the stocks that envelop them, then chances are it's not truly bullish. So that's something that I definitely keep track of when we get into a bear market. And we are in a bear market. We lost that 19,540 level, as well as ES lost every single level that it needed to hold to remain bullish. So this has become very intense. We are in a bear market at this moment, as far as my terms go, right? Some people may say, well, in macro terms, we haven't had so many quarters or whatever to bear market. When you sell off like we have, and everything is, we're past the point of profit take, in my opinion. And we are definitely in some bear market moves. Now, we can come out of this bear market real easy. If we recover 19,540 on NQ, then bear market's off and, things are back on as they are. But at this moment, we are definitely still in bear market. Honestly, we could talk about this gap down that we had prior to Tesla and Google earnings. NQ and ES had the same gap down. That was probably the leading symbol into what's been happening. Maybe I should have looked a little closely at that, but in my opinion, the Google earnings weren't that bad. And Tesla wasn't great. They beat earnings, but, everything else behind the screens on Tesla wasn't great. But Google looked fine. So I wasn't really that bearish overall, but the market thought. And, Tesla did clock in like 12% day on Tuesday. It was pretty gnarly. So, I mean, we're just in a very, very gnarly sell-off bear market right now. There's no other way to put it. Now, we'll have bull market rallies like we saw today. That is for sure. But until we actually start retaking some very, very valuable levels, and for me, that's 19,540. Until that is recovered, I am going to be on team bear market. Now, that doesn't mean I'm just blindly shorting. That means that I switch over to probably trading ES more, because ES is my favorable ticker in a bear market. And that also means I stop holding runners almost at all entirely. Now, maybe we hold some here or there, but it's going to be very limited. And I go more into not scalping, but I am going to be looking to take my trades, get my base hit, and get the fuck out. Because in a bear market, things are going to wick very, very fast. And it's best to be least amount of exposed possible in this level of volatility, especially today. We can go 500 points in both direction, span of about 2 hours. So please, just be safe. Size down. Like I said, for me, I'm going to be trading ES mostly, because NQ, like, you can go 50 points one way or the other in about 2 minutes, especially after what we saw today. So sizing down is important for me to get, that really valuable risk-reward ratio that I like. More so just being adverse to risk. ES is definitely my preferred ticker because I can still trade it with decent size, keep fairly tight stops relative to you. You really got to widen those stops out and trade with a lot smaller size, which still, I mean, it'll together, but for me, I just environment. So that's what I'm going to be going with. As far as levels go, anywhere below what we are right now, I'm not looking at any untested POCs whatsoever. We are below rollover contract volume. So these untested POCs, there's not much volume or value behind them, in my opinion. The singles themselves, those still hold value. So I'll still be looking at singles. But as far as, the actual volume profile, untested POCs, I'm looking at those with a grain of salt, I guess. So yeah, as far as any volume profile untested POCs go, I'm going to be looking for any structure that has been made recently and not anything below like what we are right now. That's not valued volume, in my opinion. And I'm not looking at prior contracts either. I'm just looking at the current contract that we're on. Don't like doing a continuous contract. Find that those a little bit more skewed value. Yeah, not much below. It's going to be more of we'll let structure before we have today's POC, so we'll be looking for that. But if it doesn't, I would just continue our way down, and we're going to continue down until it's very obvious that we're not doing that anymore. The bottom of this bear market will not be something that we can really actively catch. It'll be something that we notice at the end of the day and be like, you know what? I think the bottom's in, because it'll happen faster than we can really trade it. Or it'll be happening, and in the moment, we won't realize that that was the bottom being put in, because it'll look very similar to what we saw today, where we rally 500 points in the span of 2 hours. And then that's just going to have to hold, and you're going to have to see the rest of the stock market hold up behind it. But it's a very, very tough and uncatchable move. It's just going to go for no rhyme or reason, just because it wants to. So that'll be something well, but most of all, just being very risk adverse here. And that's all I have. Like I said, I don't have a huge bias or plan or any levels right now that I'm specifically looking at. It's more going to be, we're going to be looking at our Celts for seeing severe overextension one way or the other. Are we testing singles or recently created structure well overextended? So we take the fade back to balance. Not really looking to hold runners one way or the other. I just have absolutely no bias on direction right now, especially like they looked pretty gnarly. Looking to pull up that deal real quick. Things are selling very aggressively, as you can tell by the size of these red days. The volatility that we're seeing right now is absolutely crazy. But as you can see by these red days, we're selling aggressively with no real signs of slowing down. We're going to want to see the market try to put in some smaller candles, some consolidation days. We need some consolidation days, or back to back, or an inside day at least, for the market to show signs of we are just in free fall. Even today, we retraced halfway on ES, and then very, very strong bear market until we come probably the 290 area, prior volume that we had. It would also clean up POCs that 200, 250. I'd probably be looking, especially 53.90. We lose 53. Continue to be pretty violent, but I will not be violent for the next couple. Very, very high. That's all I have for today. Sorry. Cap to do. Yeah, that's what you guys get for me not talking for 3. You're gonna get me talking a lot. Again, be safe, guys, and come hang out in the Discord tomorrow. I'm gonna stream in the Discord probably tomorrow morning for most of the morning. Easier to stream on Discord, YouTube. Again, I don't really get way easier to stream in Discord and talk that way versus YouTube chat. So that's what we'll do. Either way, stay safe. See you tomorrow. Come hang out in Discord. And Palmetto's gay.
Every single low, every bear bleeds the same. Cause before you decide to walk away, yeah, you better know why you're shorting.